Hi, welcome to the channel. My name's Emma, this is Destination FBA, and today I want to talk about something that's really important if you're an Amazon seller, and that is IP complaints. So we're going to take a look at what an IP complaint is, how we can tell if we've got any, and how best we can avoid them. So we'll start off with looking at what an IP complaint actually is. So an IP complaint is an intellectual property complaint from a brand because you've used their trademark or sold their products. A lot of brands will issue IP complaints to avoid counterfeit products being sold. Now, all sellers are expected to follow Amazon's terms and policies, and as a result, they take IP complaints very, very seriously. Infringing on someone else's intellectual property, whether you knew you were doing it or not, could result in a suspension on your account. Just because Amazon allow you to list an item does not mean you are always okay selling it. Now, having your account suspended can involve quite a lengthy appeal process if you're not entirely sure what you're doing. And while that account is suspended, you won't be able to make any sales and you won't be able to receive any payments either. Now, worst case scenario, you could lose that account altogether, and if that account is terminated, you will not be allowed to open another one. Now, if we do receive an IP complaint, Amazon will notify us by email, but it will also show up in our account health under policy compliance. So we can see here that I currently have one IP complaint, and if we click where it says received intellectual property complaints, this will open everything up in more detail. So this shows us the reason for the IP complaint, the date, the ASIN and the product that was affected, the action taken, and the next steps we need to take. So you can see here that I've removed the listing, which is the first thing you should consider in this instance. If we click on where it says submit appeal, we'll be asked to address the listing violation. So we need to explain in detail the corrective actions we have taken to comply with Amazon's policies. Now, it's good practice to email the brand owner, provide them with a copy of your receipt and ask them if they can retract that IP complaint. Sometimes you'll be really lucky and this will work, which is great, but other times that IP complaint will stay on your account for 180 days. After that 180 days, they will be removed automatically by Amazon. Now, if you cannot prove to Amazon within 60 days that you can sell this stock and you have invoices to back it up as well, they do reserve the right to destroy all that remaining inventory. Now, with some IP complaints, you might get a message first giving you a warning. Now, these are not always from the brand owner. Sometimes you can get messages from other sellers that are just trying to scare you off that listing. Now, in cases like this, you have two choices. You can either ignore them, carry on and hope it'll all be okay, or you can remove that listing and create a removal order for all remaining inventory. Now, whilst there are sellers out there that will do their best to scare you off a listing, you should always take these messages seriously. In a lot of cases, it's much easier to delete that listing and create a removal to get any of that stock back than it is to possibly receive an IP complaint and have all of that stock destroyed. So how can we try and avoid these IP complaints from happening? Now, when you're scanning and analysing any products, you can look for certain things that may indicate that that brand could issue you with an IP complaint. This is never going to be 100%, but it will just help to give you an idea. Now, if there is only one seller on the listing, that's the brand themselves. This could be a very good indication that they protect their intellectual property and they may issue you with an IP complaint. I would advise you stay away from any listing like this just to reduce the risks. Now, if there's less than 2 FBA sellers on the listing, I would also be very careful. Now, one of the best ways you can avoid IP complaints is getting prior permission from the brand themselves to actually be allowed to sell their products on Amazon. So when I'm sourcing my products and analysing my deals, I use a software called BuyBot Pro. And one of the great features within this is the IP alert. So I'll just show you on this one item I've been looking at. If we analyse a deal, we can check the alerts and we can see on this particular product that the IP radar is showing as red. We know from this that Nivea are known to protect that brand, so if we hover over this IP alert, we get this pop out that says there are either less than 2 FBA sellers, we can see the manufacturer's name in the seller list, or we have reason to believe that there may be a potential issue with this brand. We would recommend you carry out any further due diligence. It also states when sourcing wholesale, less than 2 FBA sellers is not necessarily indicative of a potential IP issue. Now, whilst BuyBot Pro are not going to know of every single IP complaint out there, they do have a very extensive list, and this has always been added to as soon as they are made aware of any possible IP complaints. This certainly helps to reduce the risk when we're out doing that sourcing. Now, this is just one of many great features within the software that can help within our business and just help to make life easier and reduce any risk where possible. However you're analysing your deals, just make sure you do it thoroughly. It's far better to spend a little bit more time looking at all that information that's available to you rather than purchasing a product that you haven't analysed properly. You could be stuck with an item that you can't sell or will cause you issues further down the line. This not only risks your account, but it potentially loses you a lot of money if Amazon destroy those goods. Just do everything you can to protect yourself and reduce these risks right now. So I hope this just helped to explain those IP complaints in a little bit more detail. Do take them very seriously and deal with them as soon as they become apparent. Any questions at all on this, please do pop them below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Now if you found this video useful, please do click that like button below and subscribe to see lots more videos like this in the future. But for now, thank you for watching and I'll hopefully see you soon. Bye bye.